All right, what is going on, everybody? Thank you for coming back and tuning in to the Ridin the Line podcast. As always, we got myself, Kason Smith, joined by Ross Mogden, and man, another early week podcast. We're stoked to bring it back. Got a sick guest today. First, I want to thank our sponsors, Specialized Bicycle Components, bringing out the new Specialized Levo R. The thing is sick. Ross has spent a little bit of time on one and then now got himself one. So now he's spending even more time on one now.
Yeah,
So,
boy.
yeah, big shout out. I'm sure we'll dive into that a little bit, but big shout out to Specialized for supporting the show and hanging in there with us. Shred It You're On, which is a sick jersey company. Bringing that bridge with people that ride with action cameras and whatnot, and still want that jersey visible. So Shred It You're On is going to help you with that. So you can throw a GoPro or an Insta360 through the jersey and still have your nice sponsors or your company logo visible on your jersey. And then lastly, and not least, CTS Media. Anything marketing needs, anything photography needs, videography, we're here to help you out. So go to ctsmedia.org and learn a little bit more about that. But yeah, it's been a good week. I actually got to see Ross this what was that, Saturday night, and we watched some
Yeah.
Supercross. So yeah, man, we're moving and grooving, and he was hard at work today, and I enjoyed my day off on my mountain bike a little bit. So yeah, but I'm gonna toss it over to him. We got a sick guest. I'm gonna have a lot to learn today. Four wheels
Oh,
is not
yeah.
not necessarily my forte, as you can see by my background. Um, but I'm always excited to learn about the car, as I'm always very interested in that stuff and constantly picking Ross's brain. So yeah, without further ado, Ross, take it over, man.
Cool. Well, hey, real quick before we get into it, where'd you ride today? Where'd you go?
I went over to Wilderness Camp trails over
Nice.
up near my way off that Rome Canton exit, kind of like you're headed out to Canton from 75. Pretty close to Pine Mountain, if anybody's familiar with that. It's a new trail system that MTB Atlanta has been helping with, and MTB Atlanta has been working hard on that. It's fun. It's good on the e-bike. I got to see my buddy out there, old Matt Leonard, and actually yeah, I was out there a little longer than anticipated, but there's some cool like waterfalls, and it's really sick on the e-bike. It's pretty kid and family friendly as well. But the
Nice.
stuff that they're like starting to do now is pretty sick. So yeah, you should definitely. I don't know if it's really worth your drive right now, Ross, but when they get that new mileage in, we'll have to, maybe you can come up here and hang out, and we'll do maybe a Pine and a Wilderness Camp day or something.
Yeah, man, I'll carve some time out for sure. That's sick. I've been wanting to get over there. Absolutely. Well, today, one of my longtime best friends, I think we've probably known each other, was before probably 2010. I don't know, somewhere around in there. So a good solid 16 years, maybe a little bit longer. But Mr. Pat Wilmot. Pat he is a race car driver, man. And yeah, that's right. Get him. Um, Shake and bake, baby. No, he doesn't do
Second
the
date.
circles too much. But Pat and I met just years ago, actually, at Andretti Indoor Karting. Pat was competing in the little pro karting series that they had down there, and we just kind of kicked it off. We kind of made fun of each other a little bit, right off the bat, and we were like, "Hey, are we new best friends?" And the rest is history. So, thanks for coming on, Pat. And how you doing? What's going on, man?
Yeah, doing great, boys. Thanks for having me on here. It's a pleasure. I've been watching y'all for the last few months, and I'm glad I made the list to make it
Yeah,
on.
well, hey, dude, thanks for tuning in and listening, man. That means a lot. Give the folks just a little background on, you don't have to start when you were an infant or anything, but give us a little background on kind of your racing heritage, what got you into it, and then I guess what you got going on this year.
Yeah, so I was doomed from the start. So my dad was into racing, and I grew up around the racetracks down here in the southeast when I was a little kid, and that's all I talked about for a long time. And then I think I was 6 years old. We had a yard cart. We flipped that over. It freaked me out, and I didn't want to race anymore. And so I did every other kind of sport there was up until I was about 16, and then I started getting interested in cars again, really. And, but I'd always grown up around, fast cars, fast Mustangs, and like the nice one behind me. And my dad was the driving force behind all that. And so when I was 18, I saw that we had a league on Saturdays at this karting place called Andretti's, like you were talking about, Ross. And so that was my first foray into go karts and stuff when I was 18 years old, and that's where I met Ross. And then one thing after another kind of led into racing outdoors and doing a bunch of endurance karting stuff. And um, I was just kind of relentless on the racing thing. That's all I wanted to do. And I don't necessarily say that anybody should chase racing because it's like the most beautiful, ugliest sport in the world.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, and especially like I say you should definitely chase it if your dad's got a few $1 million in the bank, and then yeah, you're good to go. So don't
And you're
chase it if he
talented.
doesn't. If he's got no money, then don't do it. But we didn't have very much money, and my parents bribed me, and it's a pretty good story if you guys want to hear it about being bribed into college and getting to race. But one thing kind of led to another. I got to race in SCCA, and then I spent a few years on the side trying to figure out how I was going to make it, basically. And kept showing up at the races and just making myself known, basically, and got lucky, I would say. I try. I'm more of the line of Penske, I would say, in the sense that he's always said that he creates his own luck. The harder he works, the more, the luckier he gets. And I truly believe that. And in racing, when you just don't quit and you stay persistent, you outlast the ones that do quit, and then eventually something happens for you. So I've been very fortunate in the last few years. I'm 37 now, and I hate it. I wish I was 21 and getting the
Me too,
opportunity.
bro.
Yeah, I wish I was 21 getting the opportunities that I have now. But I'm very grateful for all the things that have happened for me, and it just took a really long time. And I'm happy to be here and happy to be on this podcast.
Dude, heck yes. I think like for a few years, Pat, like you would literally drive around to like the Grand Am races. You would go all over the place. I mean, pretty much like sleep out of the car just to be
Yeah,
at the track and just continually week after week, just try to meet people, be in their faces, and just be like, yeah, I'm here. I want to drive, looking for sponsors and
yeah,
XYZ, right?
yeah. Pretty much. I mean, I left school to chase the racing thing, and I don't think anybody should do that. I don't necessarily think that I was going to use my schooling for anything because I was pretty dumb to begin with. Um, I was probably gonna end up in some sort of motorsport no matter what. Yeah, I mean, there were a few years there that I really didn't have anything going for me. 2 years old, 23 years old until I was 26 or 27. Um, yeah, I mean, I was showing up to races. I was literally putting flyers in the bathrooms at in the porta potties at Road Atlanta. And they would say like driver for hire, and they'd have a couple pictures of me and that kind of thing. And like they'd have my number on the bottom, and I'd pull a couple of the numbers off to make it look like people actually cared, that kind of thing. And uh,
Nice.
Andy Lally did that too, which I didn't realize until later. But Andy Lally's a well known legendary sports car driver and a good friend of mine. And he said the same thing. He was walking around the paddocks in his khakis and his nice shirt and everything, just talking to everybody, trying to figure out how to make it. And they're like, "Yeah, just get lost, bud. Like,
Screw off, man.
yeah, fuck off." So it was different when I was doing it because we had kind of gotten past the situation of guys still having talent and being able to make it just based on talent. And these days it's all money based. So it kind of changed quickly. I realized that I couldn't just be fast. I had to figure out how to make money and have some money behind me, or have somebody that had money that would want to hire me to go race with them. I had to figure that out pretty quick, and I got made fun of a lot, which all those like things that I put up in the bathrooms, man, like there were guys here in the southeast that are good friends of mine now that, man, I didn't realize that they hated me back in the day. They were like, dude, this guy is such a loser, like putting up his number in here and everything, like what a nerd. And so I get it, because I look at guys on social media these days and I'm like, ah, this guy's a nerd. Like, look at all these things he's doing. But you know, you got to take a step back and realize that they're just trying to do the same thing I'm doing, right? And that we're doing. We're trying to put ourselves out there as much as we can, and hope for some traction somewhere, and that leads to us making money and us riding bikes or racing cars or whatever it might be. So yeah, I used to hate, but I can't really hate that much anymore.
Humble pie, right?
Yeah, exactly. I still
Yeah.
hate, but I do it quietly.
Oh yeah. It comes from a different perspective now.
Exactly.
Well,
Exactly.
what you got going on this year? I see the Kingpin hat. I know you and Tyler have been talking a good bit. So tell me about what you got up for 2026, man.
Yeah, man. So I'm looking forward to this season. It's I don't have anything on the pro side lined up just yet. I think Tyler and I will probably end up doing the Michelin Challenge race at VIR and Petite. We know we'll do a Petite for sure. Just because it's home and it's easy. So um however, I do have a lot of kind of like semi-pro stuff going on with the World Racing League series, and then with the new Zenith series. So Zenith has started up this year. Zenith is run by a guy named Clay McGork, who is actually the co-CEO of Oracle, and so he's got plenty of
Okay.
money to spend. And so Clay was racing in the World Racing League series for a while in the MPO1 prototype, and he had his own team, the Stratus Racing team, and that team was built up of all of the greatest drivers, good drivers, because Clay's got all the money, and Clay was like, "Yeah, I'll go ahead and just make my own series, and we'll do it this way." And so I think I'll be split between both of those series, which is good and bad. So I'll be racing an MPO1 prototype in the Zenith series with Automatic Racing out of Florida, who I was with for the last half of last year.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, we'll do some WRO racing with Kingpin. So we've got a few of my guys, the Applegate family that I've been coaching for the last 6 months or so. They're ready to make their WRL debut in racing in a 991.2 Cup car with a Porsche.
That's a Porsche 911 Cup car.
Yeah.
Cool. 992's current generation. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So they're awesome, and Kingpin's been great. You know, Tyler and I, as you know, man, Tyler and I, we've known each other for 20 years almost, just like you and I have.
Yeah.
And yeah, Tyler's done a great job. He's built up Kingpin over the last few years, which has been insane.
It's been
Watching,
cool watching him build that whole racing team, man. It's so cool what he and Shannon have done.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. He, you know, Tyler, like I always say it, man. Tyler's one of the few people that came from like less than I did. You know, at least I had a dad and an uncle that were into racing and that knew how to build an engine and build a car and that kind of thing. And Tyler came from none of that, man. You know, he worked his ass off and did it on his own. And you know, probably June or July of last year, Tyler had reached out to me about doing something with him with Kingpin, and you know, I wanted to, but um we're good friends. You know, I don't want to ruin
For-
our friendship with
with
business.
business.
And so
Yeah.
you know, we dipped our toes a little bit, and I brought my guys that I was planning to go racing with, my clients, and so brought them to Tyler, and he's done a great job. And his organization, man, I gotta say, like the guys on the team are incredible. They really are some of the best guys that I've worked with in the industry. Tyler's just done a hell of a job. He really has. So I'm happy to be a part of it, and I think our clients are happy to be a part of it. And I'm really looking forward to what we have available for the future as a team.
And so for the Kingpin team, are y'all in the Supras still?
Yeah.
Or you said that you started in the Porsche, but you know, they still run the Supras as well?
Yeah, so it's a little confusing. So we've got a bunch of clients that have Porsches between the 992 Cup car and 991 Cup cars, and then the GT4 Club Sports. We have a bunch of clients that have all those cars, and they do various track days, and then they do the IGT series, and they run Porsche Sprint Challenge and HSR and all this stuff. So, and then on top of that, Tyler and I, yes, are still running the Supras. We raced at Petit Le Mans last year in the GT4 Supra, and came home with a P10 finish, which, given the circumstances, was a really good result for us. And then
Yeah,
this year we'll do the same. So I think we'll run VIR, and then we'll definitely run Petite no matter what. But I just tested our GT4 car Supra a few weeks ago, and we've got brand new shocks on the car, and it was an absolute game changer for us. I mean, the car now does all of the things that I wanted it to do in October of
and
last. And so I'm looking forward to it, man, because we were running, on WRL trim, on a lower horsepower. We were running roughly the same times that we were running at Petite last year on a used set of tires. So I'm looking forward to what we have, in the stable for October. We should look
that's
good.
cool, man. Big gains, dude. That's killer.
Definitely. Absolutely.
Well, cool. Well, we're gonna switch gears a little bit, uh, and we're gonna talk about Pat's experience with mountain bikes. This is one of my favorite days in history. I think because I'm an ass and I love Pat to death. I had come back from college. So I was down in Savannah. I got in with Rush Bikes.
Was that your 6th or 7th year of college?
It's like 10th. Um,
10, yeah.
um, but when I actually graduated, right, I got back and I had been doing some mountain biking down there in Savannah, and so I was like, I need to go back up to Big Creek and go ride. So I got on the mountain bike, and me and Pat were talking, and he kind of came out and looked at it, and Pat was like, man, he's like, I need to go, like, he's like, I need to do some fitness and like get some exercise. He's like, I'd love to get a mountain bike. So Case and Pat's like sending me these bikes that are like $500-700, right?
Oh yeah.
Full travel. He's like, what about this one? What about this? We're trying to, get him into a bike like as cheaply as we can to not sugarcoat it. And I think we found like one in Iron Horse.
Yeah. It was a good bike.
Yeah.
It was a good bike.
Yeah.
Dang, dude, Iron Horse. I remember
They had
Iron
a
Horse. Yeah.
it had
Yeah.
a yeah, no, it had a Fox front suspension on it though. It was $500 front suspension, man. It was solid.
It
It
had
was a good bike.
it had rear suspension too, wasn't it? Full
It
squish?
did. No, it
Yeah, it
did.
was full squish.
Yeah, it was full.
Dang.
It was good.
And so he rides it. We meet this guy at a church parking lot. And like I see the back end of this bike just like zero efficiency on the rear, dude. Like you pedal instead of going like 5 feet off of one pedal stroke, you went like 2.5, dude.
You
Like
just think,
zero
yeah.
forward propulsion. I'm like, you're gonna get fitness off of this thing for sure.
I was in.
But he rode it around in this like little church parking lot up by Dunwoody. It had like a little creek and some embankments, and he was like, dude, I'm sold, let's go. 2 days
The bike was
later.
like $500, dude. It was like
Yeah.
$500. The fucking front shock was as expensive as the whole bike was. It's like, this is a good deal. This is a good deal. I'll sell it later.
And so we put him on this thing, and he's like, I was like, all right, you want to go ride some trail? He's like, nah. He's like, nah, fuck that. He's like, let's go do some jumps, man. Let's go do the downhill stuff. And so I was like, all right, dude. So we get out there and we rode a couple trails. We did a couple runs down, and then we get to the gully.
That was
And
day
these are
two,
the
though.
day.
That was day
Do
two,
what?
though. We ran day one. I was all right. I was
Yeah,
okay.
he made it through the first day.
Yeah, but day two.
I forget.
Day
Yeah,
two
this
got
was
me.
day 2. And so we get to the gully, and this was days of like the old school road gap when it had the wooden ramp over like the old road gap on the gully. We didn't mess with that. We weren't there. But when you get about halfway down the gully, you can take the straight line with the straight jump, or you can kick off to the left and there's the hip that brings you back into the gully.
Yeah.
All right, so like we're running that hip line. And I was greasing it pretty good, and I was going pretty deep. I was like landing
Yeah,
it flat.
I was
And
too.
so I mean, it puts you, for those that haven't ridden the trail, it's like a hip to the left, and it puts you in like into a dried creek bed. Essentially, there is like a tree and like an exposed root ball on the right, and all this stuff.
Or multiple.
Man,
Like it's swarm.
multiple root balls. And so Pat's hitting it, and I mean, he's about crankcasing it. He's about getting there. And he's just like,
Almost.
dude, I'm not comfortable, man. I was like, well, dude, don't push it. He's like, dude, you're doing it. I know I can do it. Because Pat's not gonna be showing up. There's no way in
No.
hell.
No.
And so Pat hucks, he comes down, and dude, he came in like a banshee. And he hucks this thing and just gets
I
a
was a
little
little
crossed
right.
up.
I was a
He
little
was
right.
a little right. And he gets a little crossed up in the air. He got some of that jammin' salmon going on, dude. And that when he lands, the wheel just cuts to the right, and it just throws his shoulder into the right bank root ball, and just boom, just explosion. Bike Pat, everything, dude.
Oh my god, dude. You're not the
So
first person I've heard. I literally watched somebody during the quick six literally do that exact thing. They came off the hip, landed with the front wheel a little sideways, and dude, it was like explosion.
wham!
Yeah.
We made 2 or 3 runs that morning, and I was
Yeah.
like, man, even the small stuff, I was like, ugh. I just
Yeah.
no, I don't feel good. I was like, I just don't feel good. And Ross is like, just chill, dude. Like, nah, fuck that. No, I was like, Ross and I, we've always been super competitive with everything. We've always been right there
Everything.
all the time. And I was like, nah, I'm not gonna back down. I'm like, yeah, Ross has been doing this for 7, 8 months, but fuck that. I got this. And yeah, we came to that point. I remember Ross told me, he was like, look, dude, like you can keep doing what you're doing, but as long as you don't end up too far right, you're fine. He was like, you're gonna land flat and then case it into the goalie.
Yeah.
And yeah, that one, it was like the 3rd run. And dude, I flew, as soon as I was in the air, I was like, yeah, I'm fucked. I was like, this is not good. And
I'm flying through the air. This is not good.
the root ball you're talking about, Ross, dude, I remember, dude, I hit a tree stump, like, I mean, just dead on. And it was like 7 or 8 feet back into the goalie. You know, I mean, just head over, or, you know, heels overhead, bike on top of me.
Ass over tea kettle, baby.
Yeah, dude, I landed on my ear and everything, like all of this with the bike on top. And man, like I hit and I was like, oh shit. I was like, yeah, that hurt. And I was kind of out of breath, and I was like, all right, I'm fine. Like I'm good. And the bike's still on top of me. I remember, Ross, you came back and you're like, holy shit. You're like, you're all right? And I was like, yeah, like I'm all right. And you guys kind of pulled the bike off of me. And I was like, man, yeah, my shoulder hurts, but like, I'm all right. I'm fine. And we pulled everything off to the side. And man, I was sitting there and I'm like windmilling my arm. And I was like, oh, fuck.
Oh man.
I was like, dude, like it really hurts. Like this thing's fucked up. And I was like, I don't know. I was like, just give me 30 minutes. Like, give me 30 minutes. It'll be fine. Go do another run. Like, I'll be down here. I'll be all right. And dude, I was sitting up against this tree. And when Ross came back, I was like almost in tears. And I was like,
Bro.
I was like, my shoulder really hurts. And so we made it out of the woods. Ross helped me get the bike out of the woods. The bike was completely screwed. I broke the frame where the caliper connected to the frame. It just completely broke that tab off. And like the front suspension was completely fucked and everything. I was like, oh, okay, cool.
Bars twisted.
Are you telling me
everything.
iron horses aren't made of iron, dude?
Dude, not iron. Not iron at all. And so
Aluminium.
yeah, and dude, don't forget, this is day 3. I just bought this bike. Like,
Yeah.
it's like, this is amazing. And so, yeah, man, Ross drags me out. He drives me to my house. Dude, like the bike's completely fucked. I get inside and like, dude, my shoulder is just, it's ruined. And, but I had never broken anything like big before. I'd broken like fingers and toes and like that kind of thing. Like I'd never broken anything bigger than that. And, I had sweet tickets to the Hawks game that night. And I was like, I'm not missing this. Right.
No.
So I get home. I did find a sling for my arm. So I put this sling on, like, and I was like, this will be fine. I'll just hold it in here. And, I drank about 3 or 4 Bud Heavies, took some Advil, and then took off down to the Hawks game, dude, and spent the night in the suite at the Hawks game, and it was great. And I was like, yeah, my shoulder hurts and it sucks. And then I got home, and dude, I could not sleep at all. I was fucked. And I woke up the next morning like in tears, and I told my mom, I was like, hey, yeah, I was like 23 or 4, and I was living with my parents. But anyway, I told my mommy, and I was like, my shit hurts like real bad. And she was like, we're going to the doctor. And we went to the doctor, and they're like, yeah, you retard, it's broken.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, dumbass.
So I'd broken my collarbone. And that was like my first foray into mountain biking for real.
Dude, meanwhile,
that was kind of your last too.
Yeah, exactly.
Meanwhile,
Exactly.
Pat's sitting on the ground like this.
I was, yeah, no, exactly.
Windmilling his arm.
I was up against a tree, and I was like, God, like it's popping and it hurts.
Yeah, that's good.
Shit.
That's good. That's what you want to do.
Like, give me 30 minutes. It'll be fine. Like, it'll be all right.
Yeah.
But no, what an
Oh
idiot.
my God. Dude, your dad was so pissed. Like,
yeah, he was fucking pissed, dude, because
dude.
What was it? A year earlier, me and Ross are skateboarding in the fucking driveway. Dude, my dad literally comes downstairs. Dude, I think it was me and you. And who else was there?
It wasn't
Laura?
TJ.
Laura and Crystal?
Maybe,
dude. Our awful girlfriends at the time, they were there. And dude, I'm literally on the skateboard in my driveway, and my dad comes down. He's like, "What the fuck are you doing? What are you doing?" And I was like, we're hanging out. We're skateboarding.
We're skating, Dad.
Dude, do you want to ruin your career right now? I was like 24. I had no career at the time.
Dude, Pat's like, bro, take it easy.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, Dad, we're just skateboarding. He's like, you're going to ruin your career right now. I was like, I don't have a career, Dad. Nobody will hire me. It's like, we didn't have any money.
Yeah,
I'm nowhere.
Career. Yeah.
I'm not losing much. Oh my God.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude,
let me break my arm. I'll be good to go in 3 months, and I'll still be in the same place.
and so, man, Pat's dad, to give you paint a little picture here. He is a good old Southern gentleman. And he had some of the best sayings I think I've ever heard in my life. He was talking about a old Beetlebug, old Volkswagen that he had, and he's like, man, this thing had about 40 horsepower, and he said it, that horsepower, and he goes, this thing couldn't pull a greased string out of a cat's ass.
Oh my God, dude.
He'd come out smoking cigarettes, drinking his whiskey, and he's like, Pat, what are you doing, man? And it was, oh my God, dude. I was over on the side of the driveway, just red faced, dying laughing, dude. It was, oh my God, it was so comedic. He was so awesome. Good.
He was good.
He was absolutely awesome.
Yeah, he was.
Oh man.
Man, I mean, honestly, like, I wouldn't be anywhere where I am now without that guy, obviously. Like, him and my uncle both. My uncle did everything as well with alongside of my dad. And God, dude, yeah, I started like a notes thing on my phone of sayings of his, and I don't know if I still have it or not. If I do, it's gonna be from like a long time ago, but it was just like a bunch of dad sayings. And man, there was so many things that he would say, and he'd get pissed off over everything, dude. Especially like, I mean, especially things about my career and stuff. And like, we took it serious back in the day, even though there wasn't much of a career that I was building at that point in time in my life. But I'm very grateful for what he did and what my uncle did and everybody for me, including you, Ross. I mean, like, you were one of my best friends that was tagging along and doing everything for me with the video side and work on the car, and like, you do anything for me, dude. That was awesome. And that's something that I feel like these days, like, a lot of drivers these days don't have that kind of backing, right? Like, everybody comes from money and their family kind of pays for everything, but dude, we made it with ourselves, and I think that's really, really cool. We're kind of the last ones that were doing that sort of thing. So I appreciate that.
Dude, absolutely, man. Those were absolutely some killer days to reminisce about. And kind of on that note, tell us about what's sitting behind you. A bit of your dad's legacy back there, man.
Yeah, dude. So I don't know if you can see it very well, but
Oh
uh,
yeah.
I've been very fortunate. My dad, you know, his passion racing was one of them, but mainly his passion was building cars and restoring cars, and um, Mustangs was his main thing, Mustangs and Shelbys, and he was really into that stuff before they were worth anything, and he had over the course of his lifetime, he had 30 or so Shelbys, but they didn't cost what they cost now when he was building them and restoring them and selling them and that kind of thing. But the car behind me was the last car that he ever restored, and this one's really special because it's a 1967 fastback, and the engine that's in the car is a K code, which is a 289 hypo engine, and so these things are pretty desirable nowadays. Like everybody talks about the Shelbys, but the people that are really in the Mustang world know that the 289 hypo and the 67 fastback together is one of the last remaining, like, kind of dinosaurs that are out there that nobody really knows about it. And that's why I don't drive it very much. I'm scared.
Yeah.
I'm petrified. I'm petrified to drive this thing in case something happens to it. But it's an all original car. It's numbers matching. It's all the things. So the car is worth a lot of money, and I'm scared to drive it. And I'm just very grateful that my dad left it to me. And I do the very basics of keeping it alive and keeping it clean and that kind of thing. But it's a great car. It's really cool. And I grew up around some really cool stuff that a lot of guys didn't get to grow up around. And I really think that my dad was one of the last, like, people of his generation and of the generations forward that really know anything about these cars. And I hate to say it, man, I have to, I'm on Chat GPT trying to figure out stuff to do on this car. And I hate that
Yeah.
because my dad tried so hard, man, to instill all of his knowledge into me. And especially when it came to engines, like, my dad was he was like the 289 guy. And back in the day, I didn't even realize that. Like, but I've got all of this literature now that's over here, literally in boxes right behind me, that my dad wrote in Mustang Times magazine about the 289 engine. And I didn't realize that at the time, but like, people would call him from all over the country about how to build these engines and small block Fords and all that kind of stuff, and what to do and how to make the most horsepower and that kind of thing. And when I was 16, he really tried to instill that in me. And man, I hate it now, but at the time I was just like, I don't care. I was like, I just want to race. Like, I just want to talk about racing, and that's it. And
Yeah.
I really wish I had paid more attention back in the day, to when he was trying to really teach me the things that he knew, because it'd be beneficial now when I'm trying to rebuild a race car that I raced for so long, and and keep the valves correct on this car and that kind of thing. So it's a dying art, and I wish I had paid more attention.
But that car, to give everybody a little perspective, basically every performance part, I think this is what he told me one day, every performance part that you could buy from Ford or that would come on a car, um, is on that actual vehicle.
Yeah.
Um, every like the highest stuff, like the best stuff that you could get factory from Ford in '67, everything is on that vehicle.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. Exactly.
yeah.
So back in the day, like at every Ford dealer, there was a I guess, like, subordinate to Ford called the muscle parts, Ford muscle parts side to it. And basically it was all of the parts that you could buy for a car like this to go drag racing. And it was like you built your car into a weekend drag racer, essentially. And so that's what this car is. So it's got all of the upgraded muscle parts from Ford, from the dealer, back in 1967. There's a few things that are, different compared to a normal 1967 fastback K code car. But I think that's what makes it special, and it's pretty unique
I mean, there's
while being original.
Yeah, because and I mean, he spent what, 20, 30 years gathering everything for that car?
Yeah, so everything on the car is completely original or new old stock except for the dash pad. The dash pad is the only thing that came from China, and we hate it because it's the only thing that's not perfect. And of course it's not. But everything on this car, he spent 24 years gathering all the parts for this car. Yeah, and then I want to say it took him, it was either 13 or 18 months, 13 or 18, I can't remember which one. 13 or 18 months to restore the whole thing by himself. He did everything but the paint and body on the car. And dude, it's almost perfect. It's an amazing vehicle, and I'm incredibly grateful to have it.
Yeah, case and I'll tell you, like, the paint on that thing, like, it's one of those things that you can't describe, like, the level of paint on that until you actually go in person and, like, you see, like, the reflection on it. It's absolutely incredible. And the last thing, it's like, that car's never seen rain, has it?
Not once. Nope.
Not one. That's how rare this thing is his dad or Pat, if it is a chance of rain, that thing ain't going out. Never once seen rain.
Yeah, that's insane. It looks so sick, dude. And there's something to say about keeping cars in the family. There's a lot of like my grandma had a Oldsmobile Dynamic 88 and stuff, and just that I wish I kept on to. And there's some cars my dad had too, like, he had a Nova and, like, a original Bronco and stuff that he wishes he still had too, so
Oh,
the fact
man.
yeah, the fact that you have that, and that it was your father's and you get to keep on to it, just, like, hearing your story just kinda reminded me of my grandma and her car, and yeah, and just like, yeah, my dad had a 74 Bronco that was like pristine that he sold, that he of course now wishes he could have gave to us, but I'm sure everybody has cars and things like that in their lives. And and just like you were talking about, Pat, like, you wish, I assume by the way you're speaking your dad passed away.
You did.
Yeah, so just like hearing the things like you're talking about, yeah, cheers to him. But like, yeah, you wish you woulda listened more, and, I kinda think about, like, my grandma is, like, these are all everything you're looking at behind me, all of these jerseys that are signed, they're all signed to her, like, this one from Dungey is, like, to Ruth from Dungey. She was, like, one of the biggest Supercross fans, and, like, the same thing, dude, I wish I would've, like, listened to her stories more, and, especially like she was born in the 20s, dude, so like the shit she could tell me, like she lived through, like, when it's segregation and all that and stuff. But I just, unfortunately, um when you're living in the moment, you never have the time, quote unquote, and you don't I wish I
Yeah.
would have sat there more often and listened. But that's, everybody will say that, so you can't beat yourself down too much on it. You can always wish and hope, but you did what you could in the moment. So yeah, I just wanted to share my thoughts there, man. It's really cool to listen to you talk about your father and his car.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. I mean, I'm in the same boat. Man, he gave me all the opportunities in the world to learn everything from him, and I didn't take them. And at the time, I didn't realize that that was gonna affect me later in life, dude. Yeah, I mean, like, I think the biggest thing that people should take away from this is like, dude, you need to listen to what those older folks are saying, and put the pride aside a little bit, and just learn, like, because you're when they are gone, it's just over. Like, you don't get that anymore. Man, I'll
Yeah.
never forget, like, when I was in high school, when I was 15, 16 years old, they from back in the 60s, there were these things called the visible V8 that people could build. And it was like Legos, but it was an engine. It was a V8 engine, and
Yeah.
basically you would build this engine, and it was all see-through, and you could learn how everything worked, how all the valves worked, and everything, the pistons, and how the crankshaft worked and everything. Like, you would watch it run, right? And it had a little battery and all that kind of thing. And so when I was like 15 or 16, we had one of those at the house, and my dad was like, "Hey, let's build this thing together." And I was like, "Yeah, let's do it." And then we started, and I was like, "I don't give a shit about this. Like,
Yeah,
I don't care." Like, and he's like getting very detailed, with everything.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And he's trying to tell me, like, on cars like this and the 302 that's in the Mustang race car that I still have and that kind of thing. He's like, here's the kind of clearances that you want between valving and pistons and that kind of thing. And here's the clearances on spark plugs and stuff. And I was like, I don't give a shit. I was like, I want to go race. Like that's
Let's
about
just do it, man.
I want to drive it.
yeah, I want to drive it. But I like at the time I noticed that it really hurt him that I didn't care about that a lot, And
Yeah.
I think that's like the biggest regret that I have is not learning more about what his specialty was.
Mhm.
And even though he wanted to share that, right? And so I hope anybody that watches this that still has family, older family in their presence that is like, hey, like they're trying to teach me something. I should listen, like what's an hour of my life? I'm probably going to learn something cool, even though I don't want to right now. Like I might learn something. So, yeah, I do regret that, but you're right. It's, you should just listen up. I don't know.
I think
It's
I
weird
think
now
it's
that he's gone, and I don't have
yeah,
that. So yeah.
and I think it's crazy with even I think Pat, you and I are a little closer in age than Kason and I, but I think even like 10, 15 years ago, as we were growing up, life still felt like really fast paced. I think in general, it was slower, I think, than it is now. Especially with technology booms and all that stuff. And like, you're talking about like old V8s from the 60s. People are like, no, it's electric now. But I think with especially like the younger folks, like in your late teens, in your early 20s, everything moves so fast. And I think I definitely notice this or reflect on it now that you've been talking about it is like when you're young, if you have that ability to kind of slow down a little bit because everything is so fast paced, you're like, I don't have the time to learn this now. This doesn't matter, right? And it's actually taking that step back and slowing down and looking at the details. I think everything I don't know, and maybe it's just me getting old, but I think everything now is like so fast paced and so like kind of like umbrella large, that it's hard to slow down and take the time to listen to those details. And I think it's even hard for me um to kind of slow myself down, right? Like I don't know how to relax, right? And it's like putting that little model engine together is would be, like, so tedious and time consuming, and I think to me so slow. I think that's incredible advice, man, so, yeah, that's good stuff. I think I'm gonna try to heed that as well, so you taught me something too.
Great, and this is a good point, Ross. And actually, I mean, I'm about to be 25, so I'm definitely like right in that. 25. Just bought my first house with my fiance, about to get married, like in that super fast point in my life where I'm like about to hopefully kick off whatever my career looks like. So like yeah, everything is super fast paced. Like I feel like especially like you and I both, Ross, super busy. Like we always, we like to choose the extra curriculars like the podcast and make sure that where our time is fulfilled and whatnot. So it's like, like a great example for me that I thought about is like finding time to spend with my dad still, even though that I'm in a different portion of my life. Is like, if we share a day off or whatever, and he wants to go play golf. It's like, dude, I hate golf, but I will go sit out there and drink a few beers with my dad, to kill some time, So
Yeah.
that's like, I'll go play some golf. Or like the sprinter van I just built. I was just like, man, like I want your help with this. Like, let's do this van together. So we'd spend our evenings for quite some time building the van out, like stuff like that. That I've really, because I surround myself with people like you guys that are, you know, uh,
Old.
older.
No.
No, you guys, I do like seriously though. I like the majority of my friends are a little bit older than me, which I can gain some knowledge from, and you guys have already gone through some of the stuff that I'm going through currently. Like hearing what you're talking about now, Pat, it's like I have already like taken that into consideration with like, yeah, my parents are in their 60s. Like I like now is the time where like I create those memories, and I go through that process. I know Ross spends a lot of time with his parents too, so it's like, you're not gonna have them forever, man. So it's like you are busy. You do have your own family, you do have your own life. Make sure you you heed to that and create your own schedule, but at the same time, slow life down a little bit and take a Sunday out of every month or whatever it is, and spend time with them. So
Yeah, definitely.
Dude, if you would have asked me 10 years ago if I would ever have Pat say like anything sentimental, especially on a podcast, or lead us into some deep reflection, I'd be like, nah, it's never gonna happen. But
Yeah,
man, it just
man.
shows how far you've come, dude.
Well, dude, I'll be honest with you, man. I don't mean to change it this direction, but um, like I gave my life to the Lord last year, and it changed me, dude. Like I'm a different person from what I was 10 years ago when we were, doing what we were doing 10 years ago, man. And
Being idiots.
yeah, man, being complete fools. And it's helped me a lot. It's helped me a lot with the growth of myself and my career. And but it's helped me kind of like navigate a really tough last year, like last year was crazy, man. I sold I sold the house that I grew up in, that I had been in for all of my life essentially. I got married and I lost my dad all within about a month and a half of each other. So there was
Yeah.
a lot of things that went on there, but my search for um, what was real kind of started a little bit before that, and um, that's helped me a ton, man. I found the Lord, and I feel grateful for all the things that have happened, and the life that I had with my dad, and what we got to do together and that kind of thing. And I'm looking forward to the future as well. So, I it's good. Everything's good. It's all good, man.
I
Dude, that's
really appreciate.
awesome.
First of all, I really appreciate you talking about it, dude, because like, for that to happen a year ago, I bet it is like pretty tough. So, it's good to hear it, and we don't have too many serious conversations on the podcast, so I think this will be good. Everybody can relate to stuff like this. Everybody goes through that thing. That's I don't want to hit on it too hard because I don't want to get this any deeper than necessary. But that's pretty
Okay.
wild, man. That like so he passed away within a month of you getting married. Was that before or after you get married? If you don't mind me asking.
Yeah. So I was in Sebring. My dad had bad habits. All right, I'll just put it that way. He had bad habits. He did not live a healthy life. And so in April, end of April of last year, I was at Sebring, and I was working for Porsche, and we were doing this week-long deal at Sebring. And yeah, I got a text from a family member, and they said, "Hey, we're going to take your dad to the hospital. He's fallen, and it doesn't look good," type of thing. And
Right.
but it's okay for now. And so that was the last week of April. He went to the hospital, and I was like, "Okay, I'm going to finish this week out here." I think I was supposed to fly home the following Monday, and I was like, "Look, I'll take off on Sunday, and I'll drive home on Sunday, and it'll be fine. I'll get up there in plenty of time." And so I got home. My dad was actually in the hospital in Gainesville, and I think it was like April maybe 30th or so, something like that. April 30th, May 1st, something like that, that I first got in there to the hospital. And he was fine. Like he had multiple heart attacks and multiple strokes in the years past. So like I knew things didn't look good from years ago.
Right. Right.
But I don't know. This was different. This one was different. He called me when he was going to the hospital, and he was like, he called me, and he said something like, I've fallen, or something like that. Like I had a heart attack, I've fallen, like type of thing. And I was like, okay, like it's fine. This has happened before. It'll be all right. And I don't know. It was just different. Like a couple of the guys that I worked with at Porsche prayed with me and that kind of thing, and it felt different. And so I made it up to Atlanta, went to Gainesville, and sorry.
No,
It's
you're
okay,
good,
bro.
man. Yeah,
It's all good, dude.
you're good, dude.
And
Sorry, man.
it's all good. I'm fine. So went into the hospital, and like he's pretty normal, and that was early May. my wife and I got married on May 3rd. So I was like, I knew he wasn't going to make that. Right. So we did our wedding, and he's still in the hospital. And then right after that, like, we're going back and forth. Like it was like get married, spend a couple days on our like kind of staycation honeymoon type of thing, and then right back to the hospital type of deal out of Atlanta. And so I went back up there, and I remember having this conversation with my aunt. She was like talking about when he gets out, and like the differences that it's going to be when he gets out. Like he's going to need to have help. He's not going to live by
Yeah.
himself anymore. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, like, all right, well he's not going to love that. Like he's going to hate that.
Right.
But,
Right.
knowing the man that he is, like he's going to hate
He's
that.
an independent dude. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And that changes things for you because you're on the road all the time too.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, how the hell are we going to navigate this? And so, yeah. And then, we went up there, like, this is another regret I have. Like I should have gone more, but I wasn't up there every day. I should have been up there every day, but I wasn't. But anyway, like March 13th comes around, and they had kept telling us like, hey, it's not looking good, and his kidneys are failing, and this is pretty much the end. That was probably March 11th or 12th when they told us that. And he'd always told me like he was not going to be somebody that lives on a machine and that kind of stuff. And he's not going to do, if his kidneys are failing, it's just over. Like he's not going to do I forgot what it's called. Whatever it's called. Anyway.
Yeah. Life support or whatever.
Yeah. So, like that was May 11th. He had a couple like really close friends come in. They all prayed and like, do you know Jesus type of thing. And, and like, May 13th, anyway, I get up there, it's like noon, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to see my dad for the last time. And, but he wasn't like awake. He was just, his kidneys and all of his organs had shut down. By the time I got up there, they were like, hey, at most he's got 12 hours. And I was like, oh, shit. All right. And so it was very hard, man, because like I rolled up there, and it was like I never got to talk to him again. I remember the last thing he told me is he loved me, and that was 2 days ago. And then he was a different person when I saw him. And he just faded out like in the most horrible way that I can't even explain it to you guys, and I don't want to, but it was the last way that he wanted. It was the last fucking way that he wanted to go for sure. And I hate that for him. And, but it taught me a lot about myself, and it's just, I think it's made me a better person because of it, even though it's a horrible thing to go through. I've learned a lot. And so I hope I can, instill some of what I've learned in other people.
Well, I mean, shit, we've kept some of that legacy alive just by doing this. So it's just hearing your stories helped me actually work through a couple things mentally, and I think a lot of people are going to hear that. And thanks for sharing, dude. That's
yeah, it's all good.
That's a lot, brother.
Yeah.
Well, talking about some lighter subjects.
Yeah, I would say some more lighthearted stuff, hopefully.
Right?
Now.
We got through it, man. That's cool. I love the way this podcast just kind of steers itself a little bit, and we get to talk about a whole lot of things. And it's I think there's a lot of times there's not like a avenue for dudes to kind of open up and talk about stuff, and I don't think that was our intention on this podcast, or on even by starting this podcast. But I just think it's so cool how kind of the just that natural wave, just the way stream of consciousness sometimes comes out. And so, yeah, thanks for that, dude. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Wanted to chat about crossover skills a little bit. It's always hard to transition out of that, right?
No, it's all good. It's all good. Sorry, I didn't mean to bring it down. I didn't mean to bring it down.
No, it's not you, man. Yeah, we all drove us there. It was a good conversation.
It's good shit. Having been a short time mountain biker, and
Very
you've
short.
done very short. You've done a little bit of a stint on. You had an R6 for a while, Yamaha R6, and Pat and I went up into the mountains. I think we carved it up once or twice. There was a moment where
Something else I couldn't keep up with Ross on. Yeah.
I had a little time on you on that one there, buddy.
You got the two wheels figured out.
I do, I do. There was we were up North Georgia coming down like Blood Mountain, and we were starting to rip a little bit, and I came into one corner, just decreasing radius, so it just got tighter as you came through it. And we were running comms so we could talk to each other and everything. And I came through this one corner, and I was like, I don't go knee down on the road, dude. Like I don't. There's no reason. And I came through there, and I was knee down, like to not go over the guardrail, 300-foot drop. And yeah, I just got on the radio. I was like, Pat, slow down, slow down, slow down, slow down. And yeah, my tight butthole. Yeah,
Yeah.
very, very nerve wracking through there. And he got on the comm like 2 seconds later, and he's like, dude, if you hadn't have said that, he's like, I'd have been down, dude.
It'd have
He's
been
like,
over.
I'd have been gone. And so I segue from that story to talk about skills that translate between what I'm just going to call like action sports. We'll even throw skateboarding in there, right?
All right, I want to take a quick break to shout out Specialized Bicycle Components for backing the show. I've been riding the Levo SL, and it's honestly the perfect balanced bike. It feels like a proper trail bike, light, playful, supernatural power, but it gives you that extra push when you need it. It doesn't feel like you're cheating the trail, it just lets you ride longer. Ross, on the other hand, has been ripping the new Levo 4, and that thing is a different animal. More power, more range, and it absolutely rips up the climbs. If you're trying to stack laps or push training days further, it's unreal. Whether you want a lightweight feel or a full power ripper, Specialized has it dialed. Check them out at specialized.com. All right, back to the podcast.
I want to talk a little bit about like whether you're mountain biking, whether you're on the motorcycle, and I want to get your perspective from in the car. A lot of things that I talk about because Pat, you do a lot of coaching. We both coached at Porsche Experience Center, so we've coached novices up through like you coach, budding pros right now. So you coach the spectrum of people. Talk about what are those kind of base core skills that you teach in the race car.
Yeah, I mean, the first one that comes to mind is just vision. It sounds we talk about it all the
Nailed it.
time. Yeah, I mean, we talk about it all the time, right? With everything, and we talk about it with mountain bikes or with motorcycles. Like it doesn't matter. On the mountain bike, you're looking far ahead. You're not looking right off the front wheel, which is hard to do though. Like it's super hard to get yourself to look farther ahead because you always want to see like what are we running over all the time. And so it's the same way. It's the same thing in a race car. So I have to constantly tell people or ask them, hey, where are you looking when you go into this corner? Because on a on a or in a race car, and I'm sure it's the same way on a mountain bike, when people's eyes are low, their hands are a lot choppier, right? So when they're driving a car and they're looking right off the front nose of the car, there's so much going on, and they're kind of like this all the time. And I'm sure it's the same on a mountain bike. Like you're making a lot of adjustments that don't need to be made because you're not
Yep.
looking far enough ahead, right? So
Yep.
so I ask people all the time, especially when we do things like on a skid pad or when we're on a track and somebody gets a little bit sideways and they have a little bit of a moment and they don't seem like they're fully in control of what's going on. The first thing I ask is like, hey, where do you think you're looking?
Where are you looking? Yep.
And so, 90% of the time or even more, when somebody gets sideways in a race car and they're on a track, they look to where the accident is about to happen, right? They look to where the car is going, which is a natural thing, right? They want to see the wreck they're about to be in, right? I get it. However, you got to look for hope the whole time. You got to look for hope. keep your eyes looking for where you want to end up, right? Even on a mountain bike, like you when the front tire starts to move and dig in that dirt, like you can't look at what's about to happen. You got to be looking out still the same way. So vision is super critical. And honestly, like I think vision fixes 90% of the problems that people have on the racetrack. And it's just it seems so simple, but it's so hard to actually accomplish. You know?
Yeah. So on that note, what's really interesting with me kind of having like the both of the backgrounds is in the race car, you can in general, you can look farther out all the time, right? You always want to be looking farther out. On the mountain bike, and the reason for that is because you know you have grip. On the mountain bike, what I teach people is to ping pong their eyes up and down. So you want to look directly in front of you for like a second and a half, and then you want to lift your eyes and look down trail. We kind of call it like the now and the next. When you're in the race car, a lot of times you can just worry about the next. Unless there's like some curbing and you're using your peripheral vision and you're really trying to clip this curb or trying to run over something specific that has maybe like a little bit of undulation to it. Oh, nice.
Sorry,
Um,
laptop sign. We're good. We're good.
cool. But yeah, ping ponging between the now and the next. You want to see what's immediate, and then you want to see what's coming up next. Because on the mountain bike, you have obstacles and you have variable traction. Where in the car, if there's an obstacle on the road, um, it means somebody else has egregiously screwed up. Um, Yeah, and so that's one of the things that, but you hit the nail on the head, dude. Vision fixes everything.
Well, I mean, it's a similar thing in racing though too. Like in a car, um, I don't call it ping ponging, but I call it scanning, right? So like you find like on your entry to a corner, you find where you're going to turn in, and then we start to turn the car and we find the apex. However, like I still have to make sure that I'm on the same trajectory that I want to be on, right? So like from the entry to the apex to the exit, depending on the corner, but
To that
um,
track out, yeah.
yeah, exactly. So it's a constant scan, like of like, let me make sure this is right, and then I found my apex. All right, let me look for the exit, and now let me make sure this is right. And it's kind of like a back and forth. That's why we talk about like
Yeah,
head on a swivel, right, in a race car. So the thing about it is a lot of people get locked in, whether it's handlebars or whether it's steering wheel. People get locked in right over the top of everything, right? So and that we can't do that. So the big thing is that you're always scanning. Like when we go into corners, a lot of people don't use the windows when we're in a race car. They get locked in over the steering wheel, or they're only using the windshield, right? And so there's many times that, like I tell somebody, hey, you got to look through the driver window, like at Barber, at Barber Motorsports Park, the hairpin in the middle of the corner. When we're doing stuff for Porsche, I always tell everybody, like, by the time we get to the first apex cone, you should be looking through the driver window and over the mirror,
yeah,
outside mirror for the exit of the corner. That's one of those things that a lot of people don't think about. They're honed in on this tunnel vision over the top of the steering wheel, and then they don't take in all of the information. Everything feels like it comes in super fast, and you're reactive at that point. You're not proactive in what's happening with the car or with the bike or whatever it might be, right?
yeah,
Switching, like that's the number one thing that I try and get people to do is switching from being reactive to everything that happens to being proactive. Tell the car what it needs to do, right? And when you tell the car what it to do, you already know what's going to happen, right? So like it's like that's like racing in the rain. I assume it's similar to maybe racing a mountain bike in the rain as well, like
yep,
with soil that moves, right? Like you want to tell the vehicle what to do, that way you know what's gonna happen and you're not reacting to what's happening, right? And so that puts you one step ahead of what's happening and makes you faster.
Yeah, the biggest I like literally this whole time I'm just thinking about motocross because like I'm still learning my whole life. Like I like I've said before, like on a mountain bike, I feel like no ego aside, but I feel like I got mountain bike figured out pretty well. But like when it comes to moto, I feel like I'm just constantly learning new. Like I constantly need better technique. I need to figure that stuff out. One of the biggest things they'll tell you on a dirt bike is to look through look through stuff. Very similar to, you can kind of like relate it to like a MotoGP or whatever. But the difference, like I'm specifically thinking of when I'm on a like deep rutted track on a red clay deep, like sometimes you'll have foot deep ruts and there's 20 of them in a corner. And so like I got to pick one of those, but you also want to like carry your momentum through that entire rut all the way around the corner. It's like I always screw up because I'm looking at my front fender, right? And so I'm like trying to move where the rut is like the whole time. Like I'm trying to modulate the throttle and like keep my front wheel in the rut. And it's like, but the pros are already looking at the exit of the corner and you're just following the rut all the way through. Meanwhile,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I need to keep the front wheel inside the rut here. Like I need to make sure it stays here. It's like in reality, it's like place your wheel in the rut, look through the corner, and have steady throttle, and then it'll just go. Like the bike will just naturally follow that rut out of the corner. It's just
Yeah,
like you're saying. If I would
it's
just focus ahead of
yeah,
me.
100%. It's the hardest thing to do, right? Because our brains say something different than what our eyes say, right? And so if we listen to our brains, we go slower because it's like our brain's trying to save us the whole time.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, our vision is the one that our hands are going to listen to. So it doesn't matter what kind of vehicle you're in or on, your hands always listen to your eyes. And so, like on a racetrack, I always tell people this all the time. Like, if you get into a situation on the racetrack and you went in too deep or the car's sliding or something like that, it doesn't matter like how many times you say, I don't want to go there, I don't want to go there, like I don't want to hit that wall, I don't want to hit that wall. If you're looking at the wall, you're going right there.
You're
It happens.
going to the wall.
It's just
Target fixation.
your hands do not listen to anything your brain says. So you have to be precise with what you do with your vision. Your vision is a critical point here. Your hands are always going to listen to your eyes. And we see it all the time on skid pads. Like skid pads, the easiest place to work on this. You get on a skid pad, people spin out over and over and over. And then as soon as you set their eyes in the right place, oh my
Yeah.
God, it's like the easiest thing in the world. But it's all vision. You pick up so much information sooner and you feel that through your ass in the seat and through the chassis of the car, and that leads you to not making mistakes. I mean, it's as
Yeah.
simple
One
as
of
that.
my favorite things to watch, dude, if like, okay, so the new Hoonigan that just came out with Travis Pastrana, right? They have a camera shot within that Subaru, and you just see his eyes. Like, literally, the camera is fixated on his eyes. And he is like mid drift, probably at 60, 70, 80 miles an hour, whatever it is. And he is looking ungodly far ahead. And like, that's one of my favorite camera shots is like, all you see is like him through his helmet, see his eyes, and he's not looking at that hood of the car. Like there's no shot. I can see his eyeballs, right? He's looking so far ahead mid drift. And
So
same thing when I watch drift car racers. Like, dude, they are looking so far ahead.
so go watch it again and count how many times he blinks.
Like,
Yes.
I guarantee
Yes.
you, I guarantee you, he doesn't blink once in 15 or 20 seconds. And so that's something else that like I think is so cool about racing, and it doesn't matter what you're racing, but you can go and watch any of these onboard videos like that. And man, when guys are locked in, they're in the zone, their eyes, they don't blink. And it's something that I've never realized either. Like I put cameras in the car as well, and I saw this years ago, but I was like, holy shit, like let me go look at mine. And the same thing, like my eyes are just open the whole time. And you have you don't realize it, right? But
no.
there's a really good video that just came out on Instagram. It's by I think it's called Corsa Work or Corsa Works or something like that. WERKS.
Okay.
But there's a really cool video, a really cool reel that has come out, and they do very cinematic videos. It's not like the normal just up and down, like, 9/16 type of video. They'll do it sideways, and it's super cinematic, man. But they did one with my buddy Mike Skeen out of Charlotte
Okay.
when he was racing in the Daytona 24 at the start of this year. And dude, it's like 90 seconds of the most purest cinematic racing that I've ever seen. Like it's focused on him, and then they have a camera focused outside too through the windshield. But like you just you pick up, it's crazy, man. You pick up so emotion out of like 90 seconds of this guy driving in a 24-hour race. And
Yeah.
it's something I feel like that a lot of these videos nowadays miss. Like we don't have a lot of this cinematic stuff from the 70s and everything when it was really dangerous. And dude, it's amazing. Corsa Works, I'm pretty sure it's called Corsa Works, but it's incredible. If you check it out on Instagram, like this
If
video.
you find the link, shoot it over to Kason and we'll put it
Yeah.
in show notes and stuff. Yeah, and
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
link that to him. That's killer. I want to see it
Let me
now
plug
too.
this in.
Where are we at on time, Kason? Just because I got a phone call and it reset my thing, so I know you got
Yeah,
some
I've got to
constraints.
finish up here in the next probably 5 minutes
Cool, man.
or so.
Awesome. Well, hey, hey, Kason, you got any questions for Pat or anything that spiked your curiosity out of what we talked about?
Man, I dug into what was my curiosity. That was cool that we went
Yeah.
down a little bit of a rabbit hole, and no, nothing off the top of my head, man. I always do like an Instagram deep dive, and man, you've got the chance to race some really cool things, dude. So I guess I don't know. A question off the top of my head right now is like, what's the coolest car that you've had the most fun in?
Yeah.
Um yeah, I mean, first of all, like I didn't mean to bring the vibe down there earlier. I know we
I
probably
think
you guys probably
Kason
wanted to
led
get
you
to
into that one pretty
No,
good.
I did that.
yeah,
I
man.
did it
I'm,
on
I'm sure you
purpose.
guys wanted to get into some deeper stuff here. I didn't mean for that to happen,
That's all good.
but yeah, man. I think for me, honestly, like this is it's a weird thing to say because I had the biggest wreck I've ever had in the same car, but I got to drive a Childress stock car, a road race stock car at VIR a few years back. Man, it took me back to the roots of the Mustang that I was racing in when I was young, and it didn't stop well. It actually handled very well. For a stock car, I was very surprised that it did what it did, but it just had a ton of horsepower, and you had to
Was it 800
be.
horse, something like that?
It was only 500. It was very
500.
illegal.
Okay.
It was very illegal for what we were doing. It was in
Yeah.
WRL, which is another fantastic story of how we got away with that. But um, yeah, man, a stock car is just it's so pure. It's one of the last things. Yeah, it's raw, man. Like it's one of the last things alive now that doesn't have traction control. There's no ABS. Like you have to be aggressive and violent with your inputs. Like the you know, you have to really drive one of these cars for it to be
Yeah.
fast. And I love that, man. And we just don't have cars like that anymore. Everything nowadays, the GT4 cars, the GT3 cars, like the cars drive themselves, in my opinion. Like you just drive in as hard as you can, you bury the brake pedal, you turn it, and you go back to throttle, and you use all the traction control on the way out, right? And I just don't think racing was meant for that. I think that we should have a lot of horsepower. We should have no downforce, and the tires should be really bad, and it should bring out the best in the
Yeah.
driver. And I think there's a series out there that really needs that, right? And I think the closest thing is the TA2 series, the Trans Am 2 series. I
Yeah.
think that's the closest thing right now to that we have. It's a 500 horsepower engine. It's not anything crazy, but yeah, man, I think a stock car is probably the most fun I've ever had, and you got to wheel it, and it's not like that anymore with new cars. You don't do that anymore. So I really
No,
enjoy it.
It's
I feel like I've heard that answer before from not not specifically stock cars, but people that have raced a ton of cars or been in a lot of cars. They still go back to the slower ones or the ones that take more driver skill to operate for sure to be the most fun. Uh, so yeah, that's
Definitely.
cool.
when you understand how like a mechanical transmission works, how mechanical grip happens, how fuel gets, how mechanical brakes happen, and you put all of that just mechanical, essentially physics into a pure, beautiful driving line takes way more skill than when these electronics kick in, kind of like what you were getting at, Pat. And it's understanding like the actual process of what's going on in the transmission, um, the actual process of what's going on in the brakes, knowing what these things are doing, and then it's harder to go fast in them. But when you do it, God, I 100% agree with you. Like the
Dude,
feeling
I'll
is
show
so
you.
damn good.
I'll show you right here. This is what I mean right here. There's a picture that Ross took long time ago.
That no shit, dude. That's amazing.
Ross took this picture a long time ago, and that was in our Mustang that doesn't drive well, and it's like a stock car. It's like a mini stock car. It makes 400 horsepower, and it doesn't turn well. It doesn't stop. It doesn't do any of the things that all the cars nowadays do. But that picture, I love that picture so much because that's turn 12 at Road Atlanta, and the car is in this. Yeah, it's just in the slightest little bit of drift. Going through that corner, and that's how you have to drive those cars. Those cars like to be just a little bit sideways, and if you're not doing that, man, you're not going fast enough. And I love that, dude. That's the way racing should be, in my opinion.
Dude, so Case, and I know we got to roll, but
No, you're good, dude.
that photo. So yeah, the car's got like 5 degrees maybe of slip angle in it. Like the back all the way, and Pat is, then this is where the story comes in. Pat is damn near full throttle, doing about 90 through that corner. That's what you don't see in that picture. But all the weight is on the back tires of that car. The fronts are just guiding where it's going. So he's coming through the corner, but I guarantee Pat's hands were probably damn near straight. Just letting that thing just slide and creep through.
I got it on video. I've got the video still.
Yeah, and it's
right,
incredible.
Right.
Yeah. And so I had driven the Panos cars, which were they were lighter. They had like there was a full built race car versus like a street car that was kind of converted to a race car. Also, his Mustang was considerably heavier than the Panos cars that I was driving there, and I had driven a couple different cars through there. And Pat got to Road Atlanta, and I was helping. So we'll call it semi coaching at the time a little bit. I was just giving him just advice that I knew from the track. And,
are you about to tell me how you told me to go flat through 12?
And I was telling Pat,
Yeah,
I was like, 12 is flat, dude. You cannot, you can go through 12 flat, bro. Do not lift. It can be done. And Pat is like, dude, you're full of shit. Oh, he's like, you're full of shit. And dude, I think you chucked it in one time damn near flat, and you're like, nope, that ain't gonna hold.
Ain't no way in that car.
But we had the biggest argument about it. Pat's like, you're full of shit. I'm like, put me in the car. He's like, no, I'm driving.
Dude,
and I think if I would have got in the car, I would have found out there's no way that it is flat in that F-body Mustang. But dude, we had the longest running joke about 12 being flat in that car, and going full balls to the wall, man. That was fun.
Ross is trying to fucking kill me, dude. There was no way. There was no way.
Like,
dude, I guarantee you, when I turned in that picture, I was almost flat when I turned in at that picture.
Oh, yeah,
dude.
There's got to be a little pucker lift in there once or twice in that car for sure, man.
I like the way you think, man. When there's somebody else in the car, you just make him go full send, dude.
Yeah, exactly. It's not his problem.
That's right. Yeah, that's it. Well, dude, Pat, man, thanks for coming on with us. This has been an absolute roller coaster of a show, and I think honestly, when I look back at how many pods have we done, Kaysen?
This will be 20, dude.
I was gonna say we're sneaking up on 20. Kaysen and I always chat afterwards, and then we always are like, yo, this is the best. But dude, this is I think as a full range of the emotions, everything. This one might take the cake, brothers. So
yeah, this
appreciate you taking the time to step in with us and sit down, have a beverage, and just chop it up, man. This has been great.
Yeah, dude, absolutely. I appreciate both of y'all, and I appreciate y'all having me on, and love to come back and tackle more of what I've done. I know we didn't really even talk about what I did. We talked about all kinds of stuff, man.
We need to go ahead and reschedule. We need to go ahead and schedule.
Yeah, we'll get you back on for sure.
We'll do a Pat part 2 because we got a lot more to talk about. I know we got these short, concise episodes that are that are somehow an hour and a half long that don't feel like enough.
Yeah.
But we always have more to talk about, and with you especially, dude. Like, yeah, there's plenty more we could talk about. So look for part two, everybody that's listening, and probably pretty shortly because yeah, there's while we got some stuff on our minds, I think it's definitely important we schedule another one with you, man, and get some more race car stuff for the people.
Yeah, appreciate it, boys. Thank you so much. You know, Casey, I know you and I just met, but Ross, I appreciate you, man. Thank you for everything you've done. I mean, it's been awesome.
Dude, I love
Yeah,
it,
dude.
dude.
It makes me
Hey,
emotional, dude. You really helped
dude,
me.
I love you to death, man.
I love
Like,
you too,
dude,
man. Thank you so
absolutely
much.
love you.
Thank you so much.
Um, but if people are looking to follow what you're up to, where can they find you on the socials and all that good stuff? Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Wilmot Racing on Instagram. That's really the main one that I'm on. I post stuff on Facebook too. So Patrick Wilmot on Facebook, but Wilmot Racing is where you can find most of the stuff. So appreciate you guys. Thank you.
awesome,
Yeah,
dude.
dude.
Hey, take it easy. Don't work too hard. And as always, keep riding that line.
You.
Before we wrap this up, huge thank you to the brands that make Riding the Line possible. Big thanks to Specialized Bicycle Components. From trail bikes and EMTBs like the Levo platform to road, gravel, helmets, shoes, and some of the best tires in the game, they're not just building bikes. They're building the full ride experience. Whether you're racing, training, or just chasing better days on the trail, Specialized has it dialed from top to bottom. Check them out at specialized.com. Shout out to CTS Media. Websites, photography, videography, and marketing strategies for brands that actually want to grow. If you're serious about leveling up your business, head to ctsmedia.org. Appreciate Shred It You're On. Innovative jersey solutions that let you run a GoPro or action cam straight through the jersey while keeping your sponsors visible. Built for riders who create. Check them out at shreadityouron.com. And big thanks to Gutter Getters, keeping homes dialed so you can stay focused on riding. We appreciate all of you supporting the sponsors and who support the show. We'll see you on the next one.